All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again here to Virtual Racing Network. We may have finished up the Xfinity Series. We are not done. Technically, we're not even done with that one. We have the All-Star Race coming up next week. We'll be explaining how all that's going to go down in a little bit later here in the broadcast. But tonight, we're here with the trucks. We are in Canada, I think it is. Either way, it's the Canadian Tire Track. Motorsports Park, I believe is what it's called. It is a long name here. 15 drivers have made it to the track so far. It is a road course, so we knew the car count would be a little bit lower. That's to be expected. It's a very tough track to get around. But before we get into all of the racing details, we want to thank all the partners and sponsors that have come on board here so far for this season to make this possible. Starting with the general sponsors here on the racing side of things, big shout out to Global Building Contractors for being a general sponsor and the presenting sponsor for the Xfinity Series. iRacing Drivers World. Make sure you go check them out. Join that page. It's a good place to post pictures, videos, comments, questions, whatever it happens to be. If it's iRacing related, you can post it in there. And of course, Lake Erie Entertainment coming on here just shortly, or just a little while ago, so make sure you check them out as well. And of course, the presenting sponsor here for tonight's race and this series, that is Leo's Coney Island out of Rochester Hills. Make sure you check them out if you're in the area. Get you some really good food as well. A huge menu to pick from, so make sure you go over there and grab some great food. On the broadcast side of things, we want to give a big shout out to all of our partners that have come up on board this year, and hopefully we'll be renewing here for the next coming year as well. We'll see. It looks like we got some good partners on board, starting with Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm. Again, if you have a beard, you need to go check them out at wallsbeardco.com. This is the place to go to get all natural and organic products to take care of that beard. And trust me, if you have one, you know you need to take care of it. It'll look good, feel good, and quite frankly, it'll smell good too. They got lots of different scents to pick from as well, so make sure you head on over there to pick some up. SimSpeedShop.com, your one-stop shop for button boxes and e-brakes. For all you rallycross racers out there, those e-brakes come in handy for everyone that's on iRacing. A custom-made button box that you can bind just about any button to is a must, a lifesaver for anybody on iRacing. So head on over to SimSpeedShop.com to pick one or both of those items up today. Northwest Racing Series, hell, we're getting closer and closer to debuting their new season. It starts this Wednesday night. We have a lot of racing in store on Wednesday night. We have two back-to-back races. We have Upper Edge, and then we have Northwest Racing Series. So stay tuned for both of those coming up on Wednesday night. Ohio IndyCar League. If you need to get some IndyCar racing in your life, no better place to do it than Ohio IndyCar League. To get all the latest information, you can head on over to facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League. iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphics source. If you're looking to get into broadcasting or just need some overlays done to pull information from iRacing for your stream, head on over to ibog.co and get started over there by contacting Jason Allison. Randy's Wraps. We'll see. We got a lot to go over, so there may not be a pre-race show here, but if not, your post-race show this afternoon or tonight will be presented by Randy's Wraps. If you need a paint job, no better place to go than Randy's Wraps. Look them up on Facebook by just typing in Randy's Wraps and get you a really nice paint job for a really great price. That being said, it is time once again to introduce our second chair here of the night. And, well, he is a champion. He's a proven winner. We'll see. You know, I got to rag on him a little bit. Road courses have not been his thing lately.
Thanks, Charles. I usually run the road courses pretty good, but we do those standing starts in my league, and for some reason I've qualified for the front row of the last two races and managed to jump both starts. So, and of course we run no caution, so you're pretty much done for there. Definitely, I've got a little reputation for blowing the road courses early. Mosport, quite the course. This is one that's always given me trouble. I see Huffy saying he's terrible here in track. I are in chat, and I feel for him. This is a tough track, man. We got 10 turns. None of them are particularly or would seem real difficult, right? It's not like there's a bunch of hairpins, but there are so many elevation changes on this track. You're going uphill and turning, downhill and turning, and so the braking is a little bit different, right? More brake going uphill, less brake going downhill, and so many of these corners have, an uphill and a downhill in the middle of the corner. We're doing a lot of shifting. I was watching these guys go around the track earlier, and in turn two, these trucks, they got a real soft suspension in them, and I'm seeing these splitters dig into the ground. So if you're too hard on the brakes here, the truck's not going to turn in a couple of these turns. So, and that might be hard to figure out in the truck. I got the benefit of being able to flip through different cameras and watch everybody drive right now, so I was able to see that. But this is going to be a really, really difficult track tonight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, just to show how few people is, we had Mike Neal asking in chat how many people are new to this track. I would venture to say at least 2/3 of this field probably does not ever come to this track. If they're like myself, I had to actually go buy this track. I didn't even own it, so I have never been to this track except for tonight. So, well, there's probably a chance I'll never be back to this track again unless the league does it. But first time here, so again, that's why we're probably not going to do a pre-race interview. We'll postpone that till the end, as there's a lot of information to go over here. Looking at this track, there is a lot of, we got a little S-bend going in here, a really big, I don't know if you'd call that a horseshoe, not really, a really, really sharp turn, and then a long backstretch, I guess you'd call that.
Yeah, and what you're not seeing on that map is all the elevation changes. The backstretch relatively easy, nothing too complicated about that, but then you come barreling into a big flat turn there. So, watching on the cameras, you'll see a lot of guys just kind of shoot off into the grass, and when you come over the hill trying to turn a corner, as soon as that back end comes over that hill, it gets light on you, and all of a sudden the back end wants to come around. Guys are going to be going too fast and have to stab the brakes, and then all of a sudden the splitter digs, so 1 minute they're loose, next minute they're tight. It really is the elevation changes, which happen on almost every corner here, that kind of really wreak havoc there, on this course. And, of course, like any road course then, you got a lot of shifting going on, and there are some shift assists in iRacing, but you're not faster. So anybody that's out there usually trying to run faster is manually shifting, and in order to do that and really gain that time, then you're having to rev match, and these guys are running probably all the way down to first, and what you call the thing that kind of looks like the hairpin. It's really two turns that kind of act like one, but they're getting all the way down to first in there for that corner, and then they're trying to get out of there, get on that throttle. I think I just saw somebody spin around there a second ago, because jumping on that throttle in first gear, there's a lot of power in these trucks.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we had William Edwards up, so we have 16 drivers here. So we got one more.
Yeah. So we got 2.5 miles here of tricky. I mean, it looks are deceiving. It doesn't look like it's as difficult as it is on this track. But if you watch, you're just going to see guys. There's not a lot of corners that are cambered, in a way that's beneficial to you. I'll keep beating on the elevation changes, but really that's what throws you for a loop when you're out there driving. And then, of course, being the fixed setup, these guys are going to be, some of them are going to be frustrated before the end of the night.
Yeah, and we got Baldy in chat from Newegg plays over there. He is joining us tonight. I'm with him. We were talking about that. You talk about some drivers that may be a little slower here. I know we've seen a ton of drivers since we've been talking to them that have been complaining about being slow. They don't know how everyone's getting the speed they're getting. Being slow at a track like this, or a little bit slower anyway, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to finish bad, because the faster cars are probably going to get, they have a bigger chance of wrecking because they're going faster. So you have that going for you here. And two, I did get word as far as the penalties or the X's that they get here. those are off, so there is no limit here. So they are figuring a lot of people are going to go off course a little bit and probably get 1X for leaving the racing surface. So that is not in play here, and that is going to be really beneficial to these drivers.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I don't want to admit it, but the league one of the leagues I run that we run this first time I ran it, plenty of practice, but got in the race and just started racking up the 1Xs, and we started getting penalty points on our official standings for too many incidents. And I was so bad with just 1Xs that I actually had to pull over and quit racing because I was losing more points and penalty points than I could possibly gain by getting first place.
Well, if that is what you do, just pull it into the pits and just earn whatever position you get. It is a different track, to say the least. It'll be very difficult for these drivers here. Again, you can't see the track map that we can see. You know, it looks just like some long straightaways and some turns, but like you've been saying, is what you can't tell is how much this thing elevates, goes up and down. And it's just crazy. We do have some really good camera packs here, or good angles anyway, thanks to our great cameramen out there. But we will be able to get some really good shots, so you'll be able to see that elevation. I'm just wondering here, while we won't have any cautions, when we'll see our first car possibly spin or get a couple of cars tangled up together. I have a feeling it's not going to take too long. We may see it within the first lap.
I'm going to say turn 2, first lap, we're going to see somebody in the grass. I think it's inevitable. We're going to see guys in the grass all night long. I mean, these guys are good drivers here. I don't know that a lot of them have a road background. I think Austin Edstrom was a pretty good road course guy when we watched Watkins Glen with this crew, but I don't think you'd consider him a road course guy. And you know, I think Jameer Mohammed may be familiar with this track. I believe this is his hometown track. And as a matter of fact, I think he's going to be there this weekend to watch the races. So, you know, maybe he's got a little inside knowledge, but he's not somebody I'd consider a road guy either. So I don't really know who's going to do well in here, who's not. I think they might all struggle.
Yeah, they very well could. What we do know for sure, looking at, again, this is just a one-lap deal. Based off of that, it is Austin Edstrom that is out front, followed by Jameer Mohammed, Mikey Neal, Damian Leininger, and James Zarello. Those are your top 5 one-lap fastest times here. But again, that does not show who's consistently not going off track and not, wrecking it. Well, that will be the key here, as it is with any road course, is it's not one lap wonder. It's 35 good laps. You can't wreck it because there's no cautions. If you damage it too bad and have to come down pit road, it's really going to hurt you. While you may not go a lap down if you go in and have little damage, if you have too much and you have to sit there, your night is pretty much over.
Well, I'm going to go back to what somebody said there in chat earlier, just go slow. I don't know about go slow, but at least go slow enough to, for the most part, keep it intact and on the track. And I'll bet you probably end up with a top 5 finish tonight because a lot of guys are going to slide so far off this track and have to back up. I mean, some of these off tracks are going to cost them 30 seconds, 45 seconds. So, and in 35 laps, that's a lot of lap time. You know, I mean, that's like a second a lap there on some of those. That it could cost them overall. And if you look, I mean, if we look at our top 10 drivers, I mean, there's about a second a lap that separates their fastest lap between them. So, yeah, I would have to say Steady may just win this race.
Yeah, hell, steady is the way to go. That being said, we have about 50 seconds left on the clock. First off, we see James Morgan in chat had a procedure done today. Glad to see you are up and about on the computer here. So obviously all went well. Obviously, we wish to have you back racing with us shortly. But that being said, we want to thank everyone else for tuning in here tonight. But it is that time. We're taking it a little bit later here because they have to get warmed up here for such a long track. We are going to step away and honor our country here with the national anthem, and we will be right back with qualifying.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, so we are back here once again. We'll pull up your driver bar here as we have the 83 of Alex Huffman out on the track. Again, it took a little more time in the practice there for the national anthem, but nobody has still put in a time, which no surprise there. They have about probably a minute and a half to a minute 45 for their warm-up lap, and then another minute 20 for their lap. So it's going to take all of the 10 minutes for these guys to get out there and get going if they don't start right away.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'd probably want to think about it for a minute too. Just sit there. You got 10 turns to think about. You got to try to plan it, think through your trouble spots. Get your mind right before you go out there and try to lay down that hot lap. Qualifying is going to be important here because moving through traffic. On these road courses, it is difficult to pass. So qualifying very important, and you don't want to just kind of go out there and wing your qualifying.
Yeah, see, and this may be the difference in a racer like yourself and more of the broadcaster. I've been away from the racetrack so long that I think completely different than everybody now. But this particular track, I think I want to start towards the back a little bit. Maybe I don't want to qualify at all. We don't know how they're going to handle this track in a group. We talked about possibly having a wreck there early on in lap 1, around turn 2 or so. I'm wondering, if nobody's been here, if you can kind of get a feel for these drivers. Maybe starting in the back's not a bad idea. Let these guys sort their wrecks out right at the beginning, and then pick up a few positions that way.
Maybe it's just different. There are plenty of guys that do that, Charles. I feel like you're always in less danger if you can get out front. If people are going to wreck, I want to be in front of them. I don't want to have to drive through it. So, I want to get out front. Qualifying is just something I think that's important at every track, but particularly tracks where it's difficult to pass. And, this is going to be one of those. You're going to get behind some of these guys in some of these tight corners. You're going to make them uncomfortable. You're going to bump them off that line that they practiced. And they're going to blow the corner, and somebody's going to get into you, or these are all things that'll happen. It's one thing to go out there and do some solo laps, but to be doing laps, running side by side with somebody else through some of these corners, that can be quite nerve-wracking.
It can, and we get Ryan Hesgard at the top right now with a minute 22.754. He is a driver we have not seen before. Brand new. I don't think he's actually brand new to the league, as people were talking about him as if they had heard him or seen him before. So new for us, but I don't think he's actually new to this league, but he's at the top of the charts right now.
Yeah, and, I think 122.7 is probably going to be a pretty good time, too. I believe the fastest practice I saw was about a mid 122, so You know, and those are going to be hard to repeat. Guys had 50 laps to try to lay that time down, so we'll have to see as these times start rolling in here.
And we will. Jim Walking here, who's got it stopped on the track right now, put in a minute 23. So he's one that we usually see around 10th to 12th, 13th place, somewhere in there. He is currently 4th here, so or 3rd place, sorry, as Alex Sussman's 3rd. But Jim Walking, that number 91, in 3rd place right now in qualifying. He may be a little sleeper here. Maybe we got a road course guy amongst us.
Well, Jameer Mohammed, who we got done saying was not a road course guy, but is a hometown guy. This is his hometown track. He came in with a 123.0, good for 2nd place right now. You know, we've got James Zarella with a 123.6 in there at 4th. Alex Huffman, who was in chat here a minute ago talking about how hard this track is our 5th place qualifier right now with a 124.2.
He is indeed. We got Jeremy Evans sitting in 9th place right now with a 125.246. Justin Starr right behind him in 10th with a 126.227. As Brian Jones is going to knock all of them down one spot, as he will run a 124.964. We'll see. Mikey and Neil is on the track right now. If he can knock any of these guys down. He was up there in, I think, about the top 6 earlier, so I expect to see him at least in those, maybe in the top 5 here when qualifying's done.
Yeah, Austin Estrom had turned in our fastest laps there in practice time. Looks like he had some troubles. I did not get to see his qualified laps, but he is significantly off his pace on his qualified laps. And right now, I believe he's our 7th place qualifier here with a 124.591. So he's somebody I'm looking for to run up front. And if that's the case, he's probably not going to be real happy starting in the middle of this pack.
Yeah, definitely not where you want to start. I think, up, like you said, up at the front, or maybe in the back to have time to avoid the wrecks, or out front to just be clear of them altogether is going to be the place to go. As Mikey takes it to 3rd place with a 123.257. I knew he'd be in the top 5. He puts it up in P3 here so far. But we still have a few drivers that have not come out. Dan Butler's still out there on the track. William Edwards out there as well. And Brian Bizzle has not put in. I thought Damian Leininger had come out, but I do not believe he has.
Yeah, I'm not showing him out there yet either. I'm showing Justin Starr, Dan Butler as being on the track. I'm also showing Ryan Hesgaard on the track, but I think he just hasn't parked all the way in the pits because we've seen that his laps were already turned in.
Yeah, due to as well. So a few drivers that have not gone out here. That is Damian Leininger, Brian Bizzle, and William Edwards that have not gone onto the track yet. They got 2 minutes to do it here, as now William Edwards going to go out. I don't think he has time to go out with exactly 2 minutes left. It's going to take him a minute 40 to get around. So it's futile at this point. He's not even going to be able to complete his first lap.
Yeah, I think... you know, he's somebody that subscribes to your theory. I think he's going to roll around in the back and see what he's got himself into before he gets himself in trouble. So, or maybe just like you said, he's going to let the trouble happen in front of him where he can keep an eye on it and then try to come through the field there.
And we got Brian Bizzle in chat saying there's nothing beautiful about this track. Don't expect me out there. So that would explain why he's not going out there. And it didn't look like anybody else is going to be able to finish a lap anyway. With a minute 19, I'm wondering if the 75 is just out there getting some practice to kind of see where he wants to, or how he wants to get around this thing. As looks like Jack Fellers has just made a late entrance to the track.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to come into this race at time for grid with no laps under my belt, unless maybe I was a road guy. But we think Jack Fellers here's an oval guy, as most of these guys are in this league. So Jack Fellers is feeling it, I guess, tonight.
Well, definitely we'll be watching. 30 seconds left on the clock as we have about 17 drivers here, I do believe. These 17 drivers have made it. So that is basically going to do it. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. It is going to be the new name here, the new face for us here in the broadcast booth of Ryan Hesgard. That is at the top of the charts here. Jameer Muhammad, Mikey Neal, two names we recognize. Jim Locking up there, James Zarello. Those are your top 5 so far. We'll go through your entire Walls Beard Co. starting grid here in just a few moments. While they're getting on the grid, though, of course, once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight. We appreciate everybody. Again, if it wasn't for the fans, and the drivers that come to chat, we wouldn't really have a reason to be here. We do this for all the fans and the drivers to go back and watch later. So thanks for tuning in. But they are getting on to the grid here, so we are going to go ahead and get ready and get down there with them. As Jeff, you want to go through our first 5 rows, and then I will bring it home.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the pole tonight, starting P1, the number 23 car, the new guy, at least for us in this series, Ryan Hesgard, who turned the only minute and 22-second lap of this group. Also on the front row, starting in P2, number 14, Jameer Muhammad. In row 2, the number 8 of Mikey Justified Neal. Next to him would be the 91 of Jim Locking. In row 3, we got the 13 of James Lorello. Starting next to him would be the 83 of Alex Huffman. In row 4, we've got the 11 of Dennis Ellis. Next to him would be the 88 of Austin Edstrom. In row 5, we've got the 45 of Brian Jones. And rounding out your top 10 is the 7 of Brent Messerby.
In row 6, as they're taking off, is going to be the 4 of Jeremy Evans. And right on his outside is going to be the 99 of Justin Starr. In row 7 is going to be the 21 of Dan Butler. And on his outside is going to be Damian Leininger in the number 3 machine here for tonight's race. Row 8 is going to be the 28 of Brian Bizzle and the 75 of William Edwards. Row 9 here, all by himself, coming in late, didn't get a qualifying time in. That is going to be the 48 of Jack Fellers. Again, we'll see how these guys start here in the back, as a few of these guys did not get qualifying laps in. This should be very interesting to see how this race actually starts. I'm curious, again, if we'll see any wrecks early, or if they'll get it going clean. Again, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's so tough to predict. The couple times I've raced here, usually those first couple turns where you get that big elevation drop, when you get this whole pack coming off the start line together, they get wadded up there, and usually we get a couple cars spinning in the grass, if not a wreck there. So, but my league is not indicative of these guys. We got a pretty good crew here, so we'll find out.
Yeah, and right now they really just need to get bunched up. As coming through that corner there, it looked like the pace car actually sped up a little bit, so they had to catch up with the pace car here. As they are doing a rolling start. I know somebody else around here would love some rolling starts on the road courses, but that's neither here nor there. We won't bring that up too many times tonight. But new track for us. I don't know, have you ever been to this track while we're getting started?
Yes, I've raced this track a couple times. It is a fun track, but very difficult, and that's what I'm talking about with those elevation changes. And the elevation changes just happen at the wrong places on this track. So whoever designed this was probably a little bit of a sadist there as it came to it. So braking really difficult at this track. And like I said, sometimes even some of these corners feel like they're just banked the wrong direction to make the turn. So fun track, but difficult track.
Very difficult was what we heard. Green flag is in the air. The 23 of Ryan Hesgard gets a huge dump, but we're going to go back a little ways here, as we already have them a little beating and banging going on back here. But so far, everybody has made it through. We're going to switch to a different camera angle there. Get a little up close, and we already have a few cars going off. I believe that was the 88 of Austin Edstrom that just clipped the grass just a little bit.
Yeah, not bad. I expected that's where we would have some cars putting it in the grass there on this restart, but I think clipping the grass like that, you can't even call that being in the grass. So well done, these guys, getting through that first set of corners. Now we're kind of heading to set of corners here that acts a little bit like a hairpin. It's one large corner. And this is real tough, watching these guys get down into first gear and trying to get back on this throttle. Watch how loose some of these trucks get when these guys get on the throttle off this corner.
Yeah, they do. Shout out here while we have that. We're watching them come over the Mobile One area here. Did get a donation in from Mike and Neil in the Neil family. So big shout out to Mike. Thanks for the donation. It is going to be put to good use here. And speaking of Mikey Neal sitting in second place right now as he is getting through these corners very easy. Again, I really thought we would see at least one spin by now on that start, but everybody had a perfect start there, and they're getting a little spread out now, but there's still some good battling going on here a little further back.
Yeah, we've got, Ryan Hesgard out to a bit of a lead. Mikey Neal's probably comfortably in second there. Jameer Mohammed, James Zarello, third and fourth. Then we got a little bit of a gap to Jim Locking and Austin Edstrom, which seems to be where the action is. These guys are running side by side through the turns right now.
They are indeed. As we're going to go a little closer here to our TV1 camera. As you can see, they are side by side right now. Meanwhile, Alex Huffman right behind both of them, trying to figure out which one he wants to follow. But, this isn't like a speedway track where, you pick the line you think is going. You can really have to set yourself up for these corners. You can't cut them too close to the inside on a corner, or you might not make it around the corner like you need to.
Well, that's just it, right? It's because the elevation changes, right? It's not like you can just sail it in there. On an uphill corner, obviously you can bring it in a little bit hotter. But when you got the peak of that hill happens before the apex of that corner, you got to be real careful of your speed, because all of a sudden that rear end gets light and you go tapping the brakes real hard because you overshot it, and you got some wheel into it. Man, you're going around, and we'll see that happen a couple times tonight too. So yeah, really difficult to pass here. You got to really kind of calculate that. I'm not a great road racer, so I like to kind of come off that hairpin and just try to get a good exit off that, and then use that long straightaway there to maybe set myself up to either make a pass down that straightaway or getting into that next corner, which is kind of that flat 90.
Yeah, it definitely is. And just saw Chad, a good start. Meanwhile, I went back here to Dennis Ellis, where you're talking. He's got significant damage on that 11 machine on the front and back. So I am not sure what happened there. Somebody obviously didn't get as good a start as we thought, or, even after the start, something happened there. But again, we don't have that. As we get
the 4 car and the 11 and 3 cars off there in the grass.
Yeah, we got the number 3 of Damian Leininger, the 4 of Jeremy Evans involved in that. And again, we have to try to get to these as quickly as we can. I just happened to see some smoke. I actually think that was some gravel there that was going flying, as there are no cautions here, so except for local. So that is why we're not going back to them, but we have to find them very quick.
Yeah, and I was looking at that one. It looked like the 4 just didn't realize that the 3 was kind of up inside of him there, and he was just trying to set himself up for the next corner by transitioning the other side of the track, and his back bumper there caught the front of the 3 truck, turned him around, turned the 4 around, or turned the 4 around, turned the 3 around, and then Dennis Ellis, who we happened to be watching at that time, as soon as he hit the brakes on that downhill side, the rear end just came around. What we talked about, that rear end being light on those downhills.
Jack Fellers just goes around and collects. I'm not sure who that is. I'm not sure who he collected to. Sorry. That was Damian Leininger. He just broke loose and then turns right in front of the 3. And both of them get it going again, but Jack Fellers and Damian Leininger are getting involved in a little incident there.
Yeah, Damian Leininger, part of the last 2 incidents that we've seen anyways. And
he is off track again. He's going off track again here, trying to get it back on. I'm sure that truck's probably not handling the way he likes it here. Again, you talk about, you get your damage on an oval. That affects turning left. You got to turn left and right here. So if you get damage, that can really affect the way this truck handles because you're turning 2 different directions, and they're not used to that.
Yeah, and while we were watching that, our leader got in a wreck, and he is in the pits right now. Looks like he towed, and I'm not sure what happened, but Jameer Mohammed has inherited the lead, and our leader sitting in the pit road with a smoking engine.
Well, that is not good, and we apologize for missing it. We watch one wreck and miss another. It's just the product here of not having cautions, and it's nothing wrong. It's just that's how road courses are. They only have local cautions, unless the wreck is really severe. But obviously, this is a sim. We tried to play it off. It's not, but it is. So there's no lives are in danger here or anything like that. So there is no severity to that. If a wreck happens, it happens. It's a local caution. Right now, right back here, I'd say second, third, and fourth, James Zarello, Mikey Neal, and Austin Edstrom, they're putting on a nice little battle for second.
Yeah, I go back to Ryan Hesgard. I was able to go back and take a look at that, and it happened right where we said, we thought that initial one. I think it was the second or third corner on that downhill. He just crested that corner, had a little wheel into it, probably was going a little bit too fast, got some brakes, and that rear end came around, and he just went right into the concrete barrier, engine first. So heavy front end damage, a little bit of engine damage, and probably the end of his night, at least as far as being competitive in this race goes.
Yeah, it's like I talked about earlier as we were getting back there. Baldy was talking about in chat, you don't necessarily have to be the fastest guy to win here. As obviously the fastest guy in qualifying now out of the race on pit road, Dennis Ellis, and Mikey Neal goes around. I'm not sure what happened there, if he had contact or if it just broke loose, but he goes around. And again, we're
teammates got into each other there just a little bit. Again, we're on the downhills. They seem to be getting us, but Mikey Neal turned it to the inside of the corner there, and it just wasn't clear of the 88, I don't think. And again, he just went around. I don't think there's any damage, very little damage, more of a spin, or at least not damage that's going to matter. He's probably got some angry and upset rear tires at him, so it's going to take a little bit before he can get back up to speed and cool those tires down. But I think he'll be fine. He's just got some places to make up.
Yeah, definitely. You got time to do it. We're only on lap 6 of 35, so he's got plenty of time to get back to the front where he was. I agree with you. He needs to take it easy and not let those angry tires there affect him. It looks like he's got it back going here. We'll go back up to the front. That lead has now, or the gap to the lead has now decreased. Jamir Muhammad has James Zarello right on his back bumper, as well as Austin Edstrom. After that little incident, they're still right there behind him, running him down. We may have a battle for the lead here in the next lap or two.
Well, James Zarello looks like he's already probing, so he's already run him down. We know that Austin came from the middle of the pack. We know he's fast, and they're both applying a lot of pressure to Jamir Muhammad. If you're not somebody that's familiar with the road courses, it can be real tough to run your line there knowing you get guys breathing down your neck. So let's see how Jamir Muhammad handles this the next couple laps with these guys all over his bumper.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out here, we didn't go over this in the pre-race show, and we forgot to go over the point standings too. We had so much to talk about. We'll try to go through those point standings here for the post-race show. But we're on lap 7 of 35 right now. We have 35 laps, of course, as Ernie kind of can see there. 86 miles. Your pit window, they will have to pit. It's around 14, 15 laps as what we're able to pull out of these drivers, so probably closer to the 15th lap. So they are going to have to pit 2 times.
Yeah, and maybe. I mean, we think we're going to pit 2 times. Again, you're only about 2 laps over if you try to stretch that fuel. So if you're going with, some of those early strategies we talked about where you're just slow and steady out there, maybe saving a little fuel and saving that pit stop could be a strategy that could actually win this race. So maybe a couple of these guys in the back of the pack have been saving, and it's just something to keep an eye on here, but didn't realize that fuel window was so close.
Yeah, and we just went back to Mikey here, who is in 6th place. He's got the 45 of Brian Jones behind him. He just got a little bit of the grass. I wouldn't call it, we refer to as mowing the grass when you go in the grass. He just caught the edge of it, so I guess he was more like weed eating it at that point. But he did get just a little of it, but it didn't hurt him. He is running minute 27s right now was his last lap compared to a minute 24. So I'm not sure if he, again, just had a lap there that was a little bad or what might have happened, but it was a little off pace.
Yeah, and I don't know if you caught that, but Austin Edstrom there about a lap ago was able to set James Larillo off coming up on that big long straightaway and get by him. So Austin Edstrom to second place, and now he's working on Jamir Muhammad.
Yeah, and real quick, we do apologize for that little encoding overload we had there. We are still getting one. I'm not sure what's going on all of a sudden, but we are trying to adjust that as well here in the race, so we do apologize for that issue as we're trying to get it all sorted out here. But Jamir Muhammad so far has led 5 laps. He has led the second, or the most laps. It was second for a while, but he has led the most laps. The only other driver to lead was Ryan Hesgard, who has officially retired from the race.
Yeah, Austin Edstrom, I was back there. There was a nice little battle between Damian Leiniger and Brent Messervy. A couple of damaged trucks back there. Didn't see what happened. Jamir Muhammad was able to put a little bit of distance between him and Austin Edstrom, but must just be that point on the track because I got back to the hairpin here, and Austin Edstrom right there on his bumper. So I think Austin Edstrom is probing right now, looking for a place to pass. I think that's going to be our next good battle.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, as we are doing some rearranging here. There we go. But yeah, I definitely I agree with you. We may have a battle there. We go back here a little bit further. For the most part, I think everybody is really spread out on this track. Just not a whole lot going on. Further back, right now, the best battle, I think, really is for the lead.
Yeah. I definitely think that's just sitting here watching Austin. He's pretty good at these road courses, and Jamir Muhammad, for a guy that tells you he doesn't run many road courses, that guy sure does figure things out pretty quick. Granted, this is his home track. We do have a request from chat for an onboard view. I don't know if that's something that we can pull up, but it might be pretty fun to give these guys an onboard view, as Austin Edstrom actually stuck his nose out there to try to get around, but didn't have enough momentum to complete the pass.
We did, and we will go onboard here with the 88 of Austin Edstrom, as you're watching a really good battle as he's trying to run down Jamir Muhammad. You're actually on his roll bar camera here, trying to run him down just to the right of his helmet, and a nice looking helmet too. Got some flames going on, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't have the roll bar camera, so I'm having to do it from the cockpit view there, but Jamir Muhammad doing a good job of defending the inside there. So you'd like to run to the outside of that corner like Austin did, but Jamir Muhammad defending that position right now. So definitely a defensive line there. And Austin Edstrom's going to go ahead and pit it in this time. So going to go ahead and short pit this first run, get some fuel. I don't know if they're going to need tires or not. Doesn't look like their lap times have fallen off too far, considering the last lap by Jamir Muhammad was a 1:23.997.
And we're actually going on board here with a pit stop. No surprise, his teammate Jack Fellers came in too. I'm not sure if that was for damage or if he just decided he needed to come in. But he did come down pit road as well, and that will keep the lead with Jamir Muhammad. But looking back, Brian Jones is coming down pit road as well as Jeremy Evans. So a few drivers coming down pit road. No such luck for the 14. He did not come down. Neither did James Zarello or Jim Walking.
Yeah, and Austin Edstrom, as soon as he comes out of the pits, goes off on that first downhill corner and puts it into the tires, and he's got some damage.
That is unfortunate for him. That is not what you want to do, and now he's going to get passed by someone that almost hit as he's trying to get back up to speed. As he will get to speed here. Now he's got those tires, as you see a little wiggle there from him. He's got those tires with some grass and dirt and debris on them, and they are not liking getting right back into the racing.
Yeah, and so that's that corner that we were talking about where I saw some splitters hitting on that one. I suspect he was trying to make up some ground coming out of the pits and stabbed those brakes too hard. because it was a downhill corner and you didn't see that rear end came around. As a matter of fact, you just saw the truck shoot straight for the wall. I'm guessing too much or too hard of a brake there. Dug that splitter into the pavement and then just shot him right off the track. And once you get in that grass, you can't do anything. It's just going to go straight.
Yeah, it definitely is. If we're looking here, we've got Jameer Muhammad, James Zarello, Brian Bizzle, Austin Edstrom in your top 5. That's our normal here. But we didn't pick our winners here tonight. I meant to do that here. Might as well. We're only 12 laps in. I think I'm going to go first this time because you took my driver last time, but I really think I'm going to go with Jim Locking. He's in 3rd right now, but I really think he's got a shot here maybe at the win.
Yeah, if you'd have asked me before the race, I think I would have picked the hometown guy, thinking he was the underdog because he's not a road racer, but he's led most of this race right now. So I'm going to go with the guy that surprised me the most so far. I'm going to take James Zarello.
Well, we got James Zarello in 2nd place, Jim Locking in 3rd. We'll see. Hopefully, we don't jinx him. I don't think even if something happens, we would. This is a very tough track for anybody, much less drivers that may not race it on a consistent basis. Just to update here throughout the field right now, we have 11 drivers on the lead lap, ending with Dan Butler in 11th place right now. Damian Leininger, 1 lap down. William Edwards, 1 lap down. Jack Fellers still on pit road, 3 laps down. Brett Meservey is out of the race. Dennis Ellis, 7 laps down. He is coming back out onto the track. And, of course, Ryan Hesgard out of the race, currently 9 laps down. That pretty much wraps up the back of your field. But right now, it's a nice little lead, 1.4 seconds for your leader, Jameer Muhammad.
Yeah, and we get so spread out on this 2.5-mile track, it's hard to keep up with all the pit stops.
75 of William Edwards went around and almost right in front of your leaders.
So, yeah, we've got about half the field that's pit, about half that hasn't. Still out there on old tires. Your first 3 drivers, Jameer Muhammad, James Zarello, Jim Locking, Austin Edstrom, as we watched from onboard, has pit, got new tires. Brian Bizzle in 5th place, still out there, has not pit yet. Mikey Neal is in 6th place, and he does have fresh tires and a full tank of gas. Justin Starr still needs to pit, and then Alex Huffman, Jeremy Evans, Brian Jones have all pit. Dan Butler has still not taken his pit stop, and then everybody else, 12th through 17th place, have either pit or is still in the pits.
Yeah, we'll see. And there goes Jim Locking coming down the pit road. As all you can see is a pit wall right there. There he is coming down pit road in that number 91 machine. So he is going to take his pit stop. The real question here, though, is when will your front 2 go down pit road? They're on lap 14 right now. If I was a betting man, I would imagine this time coming by, they're probably going to come down pit road.
We'll see. If I was out there and I knew that Austin Edstrom had those difficulty coming out of the pit and he was the guy that I was worried about, if I was Jameer, I might have slowed down, tried to save a little bit of gas. Same with James Zarello, and see if maybe I can do this on one stop, with that extra little added buffer. Hard to say without there looking at the black box times and paying attention and knowing what information they had, but there was an opportunity to possibly save some fuel. These guys have a 35-second lead on Austin Edstrom right now. So they're out there a ways, and if they could save a pit stop, that would be huge.
Yeah, they definitely could. Speaking of Austin Edstrom, he is 3rd. He got by Jim Locking there just about a half a lap ago or so, as he is going to hang on there. Mikey Neal currently 5th, so that is your top 5 drivers here. We'll pull those up there. It is currently Jameer Muhammad, James Zarello, Austin Edstrom, Jim Locking, and Mikey Neal are your top 5 drivers after 14 laps completed here in the race. And here this next time by, we will actually be at the 20 to go mark.
Yeah, and James Zarello, he did stop, but Jameer Muhammad stayed out there. So James Zarello on that 15-lap strategy, but Jameer Muhammad trying to squeeze an extra lap out of this. If he could get 2 laps out of this and 2 laps out of the next stint, he'd only be a lap shy. And with the kind of lead that he has on that pit stop, and it seems to me like that might not be a bad strategy. And looking at things, that might be what he's trying to do here.
Yeah, I'm just curious how those tires are hanging in there, if they are wearing out at all, if it could possibly potentially lead to spinning out there before he can get to the pits. Well, let's see. So far, he is not the only one. Brian Bizzle, sitting back in 5th place, has not come down pit road as well. As you see, Justin Starr coming down. Brian Jones coming down pit road as well. And I'm not sure what is going on with Jeremy Evans in the 4. I'm showing a 35-second pit stop on pit road, but no time for actually in his pit stall.
I don't know. It's very possible he blew through his pit stall and had to take another lap.
And we'll see. We'll watch him here and see if he goes in this next time by. That is possible here. Alex Huffman currently 7th place. Again, you were trying to do keep up with here as Dennis Ellis gains one more spot to jump to 15th now over Brett Meservy. He is still currently 7 laps down, but he is on the track, and that's where you need to be if you want to have a chance to gain a few more positions.
Yeah, and we've got Jamir Muhammad opting to stay out for another lap, so it does look like he's playing a little bit of the field strategy game here. So going to be real interested to see if he can pull it off. It's like I said, I like the strategy because of Austin Edstrom's accident coming out of the pits. But, as the first place truck who's led a lot of this, he's got kind of a lot. It could be a risky strategy. I think it depends on how much he trusts those field calculations he's got going on while he's driving around the track.
It could be, and we got Mike Neal in chat letting us know the 14 has raced here before, so he may know, like you say, he's saying he may know the little pit stuff, so again, if he's raced here before, he definitely may know something. As the 21 of Dan Butler coming down pit road here, so he is going to take his first pit stop as well. However, Jamir Muhammad not going out, or not coming in again, so if he can finish this lap, I would think he'd be able to make it.
Well, it's 35 laps, right? This is his 17th lap, so yeah, if he can finish this next lap, so he's going to go for 18 on this run. And I guess I was a little bit behind from looking at that last accident. You're right, he already passed by. But yeah, if he can finish this next lap, he should be able to make it. So this would be huge. He's the only guy on that strategy.
And I just noticed here, we're watching Dan Butler on pit road. He had to go in reverse there. It looks like he overshot his pit stall. So he had to back it up and then get back in there. So that's going to cost him a little bit extra time on pit road. So again, some of these guys not showing times. Jeremy Evans not coming down this time on pit road either. So that must just be a glitch in our timing screen as to not why he was not showing a time there. As Brian Bizzle now coming down pit road as well, so he's going to take some tires as well. So a lot of drivers out here taking some fresh tires here a little later. We'll see, though. Will Jamir come down? He is indeed coming down this time.
Yeah, and two things about this pitting here. Number one, it's a narrow pit road. You're really funneling in there narrow and shooting back out on the track. Downhill, around the corner, it's really easy to spin it coming off a pit road. But you're also pitting on the other side of your truck. You're not used to doing that. You're pitting the passenger side, so if you're not paying attention, it's just different, right? You pit 1,000 times, and your driver's side always goes up, to your pit crew. And we saw Jamir Muhammad just overshot it, had to back up, pull forward, back up, pull forward again. So it's different, and we've seen some good drivers kind of get bit by that here on pit road.
Yeah, and speaking of someone who got bit coming out of pit road, he's now your race leader. The 88 of Austin Edstrom takes the lead here as he has not officially led a lap yet, but he is indeed your new race leader. So we'll see if he can finish off and lead this lap, as Jamir actually did cross the line going into his pit stall. So he led that lap, but because of that costly mistake there, that will allow the 88 to take the lead.
Yeah, Jamir had one extra pit stop, which is about 40 seconds, and a 35-second lead to kind of play with there. He just burned 10 seconds of it off getting into the pit. So that's a lot of time that he's not going to be able to necessarily spend saving fuel if he needs to at the end of this race. So that could be a costly pit there. Austin Edstrom needs to turn some fast laps because we know he's going to have to make 2 more stops. There's no way that Austin Edstrom can make it on, on only 1 stop this race. So, still like Jameer's strategy since he got through half that race on that first tank. But Austin Edstrom making some good time out there too right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. And look who's behind him. That is the 8 of Mikey Neal, sitting in 4th place right now. After the struggles he's had, he is right on the heels of Jameer Muhammad, trying to take 3rd place away. The question is, can he? We know, based on just how long he made it before, that we are 99% sure anyway that Jameer Muhammad can make it on fuel. These other guys pitted a little early, so I'm not sure if they are going to be able to make it on fuel or not. I think they're going to have to pit again.
I think Jameer Muhammad could probably make it on fuel if he's allowed to save. If something happens, gets an off course or something like that, and Austin Edstrom's able to catch back up to him and put pressure on him and keep him from saving fuel, because I noticed on those last probably 6 or 7 laps he was running a second slower. He may not have enough. He may be short on gas. So I think the big strategy there from Austin is to do everything you can to at least eat enough of that gap up to keep him from being able to comfortably save fuel.
Yeah, and right now, Mikey's not letting him save at all, as he is still right there behind him on his back bumper. So Mikey Neal, with the pressure from behind, pushing Jameer Muhammad to make him drive that truck as fast as he can and not conserve. Then the pressure of Austin Edstrom pulling away. That's 2 pressures right there, a push and a pull. One pushing you, one pulling you. That's going to make him have to drive this thing even harder, and that is not what he wanted right now. He wanted to come out in the lead and just be able to kind of hang out there and lead this thing and maybe coast a little bit and then just drive it. Now he's really having to actually race to stay ahead of the 8.
Yeah, if my math's good here, and it usually isn't, Jameer Muhammad's probably got, assuming he doesn't have to pit again, he's probably got about a 15 to 20 second lead over Austin once Austin gets done with his pits and takes that extra pit stop and all that and everything cycles through. So, here over the next 20 laps, it's not, Austin could definitely eat that up, but I don't get caught racing guys out there on the track if I'm Jameer. If I got to let Mikey go, I'll let him go. I just go out there and turn those comfortable laps right now. Just keep an eye on that black box and just see how much Austin's picking up on that, and mainly just gauge my lap times based off of how much of that cushion that Austin's eating into.
Yeah, and right now they do have currently right there at the line 15 laps to go out of the 35, so we are past the halfway point here. Pulled our caution chart up, even though cautions are off except for local. There is no track-wide caution, so those are irrelevant. 15 laps to go, though. We have only had 2 different lead changes, but 3 different leaders here, as Jameer Muhammad has led. Austin Edstrom is currently leading. He has led 3 laps, and of course Ryan Hesgard out of the race early led at 3 laps as well. So right now, as it stands, Jameer Muhammad has led the most laps for that bonus point, but this race is not over. If Austin can stay ahead and lead the rest of this race, he would lead the most laps.
Yeah, and right now this field's pretty spread out. Austin Edstrom has put 10 guys, or I'm sorry, there's only 9 guys left on lead lap, so he's put 8 guys down. Some of these guys are out with damage, of course. We got William Edwards, Brett Messervy, and Ryan Hesgard look like they've taken it behind the wall and they're out of the race. Jack Feller's still in the pits getting a lot of damage fixed. And Dennis Ellis, we saw his early woes there. So he's 8 laps down right now. Back out on the course, though. And then Brian Jones, 3 laps down, a little bit of an incident there. Dan Butler, Justin Starr, both just put laps down. So Austin Edstrom putting them away.
And Justin Starr coming down pit road in 10th place right now, as well as Mikey Neal coming down pit road here with 14 to go. I'm wondering if he knows he can't make it on fuel and he's going to pit and get it out of the way now.
None of these guys that took that first one can make it on fuel, so we know they're already there's 13 laps left. These guys have anywhere from 7 to 10 laps on their tires, so we're pretty sure these guys can't go 20 laps on this. So I think some of these guys are short pitting and just kind of working it backwards, which you do a lot of times on a road course. A lot of times on a road course, you don't need those tires up that bad, and you're actually put some of your faster lap times down as you run the truck out of fuel. So sometimes these guys will work backwards and try to run the truck out of fuel there towards the end of the race, as opposed to splitting up the fresh tires.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking here as Mikey Neal missed his pit there a little bit. He had to back up. It seems just like Jameer did that. I'm wondering if that pit stall, we've talked about it before, how it goes from the racing surface to like concrete, is it looks like it is a different surface where those tires slide a little bit.
Yeah, and watching Jameer, that wasn't it. It's just as a driver, it's hard to explain it because I couldn't really see it on the camera view. The pits are just different than what you're used to. You're coming off of a corner. You're kind of coming up the hill. They're just kind of a funneled entrance. Then it opens up a little bit, but still narrow. And then you're pitting on the other side of the truck. So sometimes I think we take pit stops for granted. I think Mike Neal and I have talked about this in the chat and on the air here before. It's one of those things that these guys don't practice, and pitting's different here.
It definitely is very different. As we're taking a look through this field right now, you got to get back here. Not even a battle, but it is a little bit of a battle. It's just not for position between the 8 and the 21. Nothing going. Ooh, as the 3 of Damian Leininger spins it around, and he will recover it, but he will probably lose a spot here if that is for position. It is Alex Huffman will get by him for position after he just kind of got it loose there coming out of the last turn there at the start-finish line.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify that previous comment. When I say these guys don't practice that, I do not specifically mean this league, because I don't know who did and did not practice pit stops. But in general, most guys iRacing and in leagues and stuff overlook pit stops, don't practice them, and then at a track like this where it's just different, you kind of see it rear its head there.
Yeah, you do. And again, it's it's nothing against these drivers here. They're just for all intents and purposes, they may be decent at road coursing or even good at it, but they're not probably road course racers. That's not what they classify themselves as. They're oval racers. So to come to a road course, and be able to even keep the car on the track, in my opinion, is just amazing, because I can promise you I couldn't.
Yeah, and our leader, the 88, just pit, got 4 tires. Good pit stop, no mishaps, got a full tank of gas, and he's back out there for his final run. So we'll see where that cycles him back out, but looks like he's going to cycle out about 25 seconds behind the leader, which would put him, who the leader starts to pit, that'd probably put him about 22 seconds behind Jameer Muhammad. So a little more than my 15 to 20 second estimate, but so he's going to have to work hard to get up there and put some pressure on Jameer and not allow Jameer to save. Don't know that he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not sure if he's going to be able to or not. Jim Locking, though, is your leader. He has led 1 lap, so he will get the bonus point. So there it is, going to lead his 2nd lap. So congrats to Jim Locking here, leading his 2nd lap of this race. He is one, though, that is going to have to come down pit road. He has 11 laps on this stint with 11 to go. Well, that is a total of 22. He will not be able to make it. Right now, would give the lead back to Jameer Muhammad. So even after missing his pit stall there and having to back up, he is sitting in a really good spot. And the good news is he's not in any position to have to worry about a caution coming out.
Yeah, I was just back here looking at the front end of the 88 truck. I kind of watched him come out of the pits there. And, we've seen him spin out and get into the wall, but, man, that truck looks like it's been through war. He's got the sides all scraped up, the front's all... There isn't a straight part on that front splitter. Austin Edstrom is wheeling that thing, and it looks like it.
It definitely is wheeling it. The Aaron's 88 machine. as he's going to come up through the little corner there, and we'll see. That is a really, I just love that camera angles. They come out there, gets it a little out of shape, but he keeps it going there, as it looks like he, like you said, has been through a war zone. Mikey Neal is his teammate coming up on him here shortly, as he does get by the 28 there. That was a lap car, and there it is. Jamir Muhammad going to regain the lead here as Jim Locking comes down pit road. Your new race leader once again is going to be, there's the wrong one, the 14 of Jamir Muhammad retaking the lead.
Yeah, so Jamir Muhammad takes the lead back with a 20-second lead. At least that's what I'm showing on my timing screen now. Nine laps to go and a 20-second lead. So you ought to be able to save it. I guess the question is, can he keep it on the track? That's really what he's got to do. He's got to avoid any accidents. He's got to be careful around any lap traffic if he comes upon it, and keep this thing safely on the track. You can't spin it out coming down one of these corners, over brake, or jam your splitter in the track. So not as easy as it sounds. It certainly isn't a foregone conclusion that he's going to win this, and he still has to save that fuel.
Yeah, he definitely has to save fuel, and it's not like we talked about. It's not like a road course, a road course. It is a road course. Not like an oval where if you run out, you can kind of coast it around the track. If you run out of fuel here, you're not going. Unless you happen to be like 2 feet away from the start-finish line, you're probably not going to make it. Turning left and right multiple times, if you're too far away, that car will eventually come to a stop before the line. So your only hope, if you do run out of fuel, is to run out of fuel literally coming down the front stretch to finish the race. Because if there's more than one turn involved in it, you're probably going to run out of fuel, and you're not going to be able to have enough power.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a flat stretch there on those last couple corners coming to the start-finish line, but the rest of this track is just hills and valleys, and you're absolutely right. You're not going to coast over too many of those hills.
Yeah, you definitely won't. Well, James Morgan in there. The 14 is very good at saving fuel, and I expect him to probably be good on fuel. So we'll see if our predictions are right, as he's going to come out of that sharp little corner there. And he's got a one-lap car coming up in front of him. I'm not sure who it was. They are quite a ways up, so I don't think it's going to matter. But let's see. It might be Justin Starrs. It looked like a purple car, but I don't believe it is. But speaking of Justin Starr, he is currently in 11th place right now in that 99 machine. Dan Butler right ahead. He is the 10th place, and that is becoming a little bit of a battle if they can catch up to each other.
Yeah, we've only got 6 cars on the lead lap right now, and we've got another one here, Jeremy Evans, in jeopardy of going down here shortly to our leader, Jamir Muhammad. And looking at Jamir's lap times, he's definitely saving. He's a 1.5 to 2 seconds off the lap times that he was turning earlier. So I think Jamir's saving. I think he's got the fuel. I think this just, again, watch him get by Jeremy Evans up here when he catches him. But these are the places that he's got to be real careful and just keep this thing on the track. And I think he's looking at a good finish here. But, we got 10 turns on one lap. We got several laps to go. Plenty of opportunities for mishap.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities. Let's hope nothing does happen to anyone. As it would be devastating, especially for Jamir Muhammad, who has led 17 laps so far. He's led the most, followed by Austin Edstrom, Ryan Hesgard, and Jim Locking. Those are your only leaders here. Austin Edstrom still trying to run down your race leader. That is a huge gap, 17.2 seconds to try to catch up. Jim Locking sitting in 3rd place, 32 seconds behind. That is another huge gap. Right now, like you said, Jeremy Evans, 1:20 behind. He is definitely in jeopardy of going a lap down.
Yeah, Austin Edstrom's got this lead cut down to about 16 seconds. So the last few laps, he's taking about 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap off. But I don't think there's enough time. Even if he takes 2 seconds a lap off at this current pace, he's still going to finish probably 4 or 5 seconds back. So not going to be able to press Jamir Muhammad. He's just going to keep going at it, though.
Yeah, he's just got to plug away, keep going now. 15.8 seconds. There is your second place, and first place is quite a ways up. And there's a car in between them, but I don't know what car number it is. I believe it's the 3 of Damian Leininger. It is. So definitely got to get around Tim. And he's been involved in several stuff too, the 3 car has, but surprisingly his truck looks fairly clean.
Yeah, and Jameer Mohammed just keeps backing it off here watching that. So, you know, we'll see. Austin Edstrom is absolutely flying right now. He's been flying most of the race. So, you know, maybe he can give us a little bit of excitement here at the end. The next closest battle we probably have is for the last podium spot between third place Jim Locking and Mikey Justified Neal. Mikey Neal been working on running down Jim Locking, about 2 seconds back on him right now.
Yeah, he's running him down, trying to get that position as we have 6 laps to go right now. Again, this race has really gone by fairly quick once we got started. I know we got started a little bit late. But hey, we're here and we are racing. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And again, Jim Locking definitely, I think, will have his work cut out for him if he wants to keep third. If Mike can catch him, if he catches him, he definitely will battle him hard. The question is, will he be able to here with 6 laps to go, fixing to be 5 to go?
Yeah, it looks like Mikey might have had a little bobble there that I missed somewhere just after we mentioned him. Fell back about a half a second further. He was reeling him in. So Mikey, about 2.5 seconds back now, had that down to about 1.9. But that could all just be dependent upon where they're at on this track, too. Mikey's still got a visual sight on him. And then behind him with 25 seconds back, we've got Alex Huffman. So your top 4, barring any accidents, are probably going to be Jameer Mohammed, Austin Edstrom, Jim Locking, and Mikey Justified Neal. And we're just trying to sort the order out now.
Yeah, this is just about sorting the order out here and checking with your leader. There was Pit Road. He is coming up to the line now, as right there it will be 5 to go. Again, normally that's kind of a danger zone where a caution can come out in the race, but that's not the case here tonight. There is no caution except for local cautions. So, you know, the 14 doesn't have that to look off to. Oh, if a caution comes out, I win. That's not a little safety net here tonight.
No, that's the hard part about these road courses. You don't get that caution to bunch the field back up, so you continue to pay for every mistake you made for the entire race. So plenty of time to beat yourself up.
Yeah, you definitely have plenty of time to do that. And I'm sure some of these drivers will be doing it when the night's over. I can almost promise you most of these guys will probably, the first thing they're going to say when this race is over is, thank God this race is over.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody but Jameer Mohammed is excited to be out here tonight. I think Austin Edstrom felt pretty good about his chances earlier. You know, he's, what happened to Jameer Mohammed? That would be something else that could end this for us. So Jameer Mohammed looking like he's got some connection issues. Just flat out disappeared on us for a while, but was able to come back before he timed out. And man, that'll make you nervous.
Yeah, it will. And while he did that, that gap went from about 14 to 11 seconds. It was at 10 at one point. So that gap went away real quick while he blinked.
Yeah, Jameer Mohammed turning about 3 seconds slower laps now. So he is definitely in full save mode. Austin Edstrom 10 seconds back now, so he's got that lead down to 10 seconds. Don't know that he can do it, but he's getting there.
Yeah, he is definitely getting there. He's just a little off right now. It's 4 to go. But again, a 2.5 mile track. 4 laps is quite a bit of time, as it's now down to 9.8. So can he catch him is the question. We're going to go back here to Jim Locking and Mikey Neal real quick, as Mikey Neal once again has reeled in the 91 of Jim Locking. Will he be able to get by him and get a podium finish is the question.
Absolutely. That is definitely the question. Mikey Neal has that down, like you said, to about a half second here. So hopefully, and there he goes. Mikey Neal just got loose there, brought the rear end around, and probably cost him his chance at a podium finish there.
Yeah, that definitely will cost it. Again, unless something happens to the 91 there. If something happens to him, and it could possibly change it again. But Mikey Neal catching the little rumble strip thing there and going around there. He does recover from it. He gets it going. He doesn't lose any spots. But he will definitely cost him a lot of time on the 91.
Yeah, he just caught a little bit too much of that curb, which you're really trying to catch those curbs. I mean, that's the fastest way around the track. But a couple of these curbs, nothing we didn't talk about earlier, there are some curbs here that you can get on and get around the track a little faster, turn your truck, and there are some that will upset the truck. That was one that got that truck all upset. We saw the tires bouncing and just didn't have enough grip left with that truck bouncing like that to complete that corner. So, another treacherous thing about this track is some of those curbs.
Yeah, and you go on that. Since this is a simulator, they simulate it. Some games, like you talk about, those little curbs, rumble strip, whatever you want to call them, they're flat. They don't do anything. That's not the case here. They scan stuff here in 3D, so if it sticks up and it can upset the car, it will. And that's you have to be so precise as to where you hit them. Dan Butler coming down pit road now to take his second stop here. Jamir Muhammad has caught up with the 4 of Jeremy Evans. The question is, will he play a factor in this race? Right now, there is 2 laps to go. Will the lap car play a factor for Austin Edstrom to be able to catch him here with 6 seconds behind him?
Yeah, Jamir Muhammad really slowed down that lap, but I think it's his connection that I'm more worried about. As we can actually see Jamir Muhammad and Austin Edstrom in the same camera angle now. On some of these corners. But his connection, I showed a time lap of 8 seconds, which we know is not right. So he's having some pretty serious connection issues right now. And I guess I'm going to question whether or not he's going to be able to keep it in there or keep it on the track there for the rest of the race.
Now, that would not be the way, especially now with 2 to go. If it was to drop connection here this late in the race, that would just be devastating to the 14. Again, that it's happened before too. I don't know if it was him it happened to. I think it was Austin Edstrom that it happened to. So regardless, it's happened several times this year to a couple of people, and it's just a devastating way to end the race. Right now, 4.3 seconds behind. And now it's going to be 1 lap to go, presented by Northwest Racing Series. But this is still 2.5 miles around this track.
And answer your question, Mike, there in chat, I do not believe the 14 is drafting. I think he's just trying not to put himself in that dangerous situation by trying to make that pass. He's watching his relative distance to Austin behind him and not going to make that pass unless he absolutely has to win this race. Doesn't want to put himself in a position where he could get taken out here in these last few laps.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to put yourself in there, especially when you get too wide. That is doesn't spell disaster, but it could if you have these older tires. They could get a little loose or get him out of the groove. Let him run his line. Let him do his job and don't pressure the 4 too much to try to get by him here. Just let him do his thing as long as it's not costing you a position. And that's exactly what I think he's doing as well. Meanwhile, he is just about a half a lap away from winning this thing.
Yeah, and, from what I can see, at least on the lead lap here on the timing screen, we don't have a whole lot of close battles that we really need to check in on. Looks like the field is pretty spread out. And really the close battle we have right now is first and second with Jamir and Austin.
Yeah, it definitely is. And he is coming around here shortly as it will be coming around. Well, there it is. A checkered flag is waving I said coming around, I missed the corner there, but it will be the 14 of Jameer Muhammad bringing home the win, getting a little celebration tap there from the 88, unless that's he's had a fuel tap.
Yeah, Jim Locking brings it home in third, and Mikey Neal trying to bring it around here for fourth place, but he's in. I did not see if he crossed the start and finish line before he wrecked it. God, I hope he did.
I think he did. He's in scored, and I'm not sure if the 88 is just giving the 14 a lot of congratulations, or if the 14 is actually out of fuel.
I'm gonna guess the 14 is probably out of fuel, and the 88 is pushing him around for that photo op.
They do have a mandatory photo op at the start-finish line, and with this big monster of a track, that could be a little difficult if you don't have any fuel in there, but it looks like he's under his own power now.
Not sure. It looks to be like the 88's pushed him, but hard to say. Maybe I can get in the cockpit there and see if we can get a view of the tack.
Definitely there. While we're doing that here, I'll go ahead and run through our unofficial race results. There's only 17 drivers here. As we'll get rid of that and bring up our race results. Getting the win here tonight is going to be the 14 of Jameer Muhammad. Second place will go to the 88 of Austin Edstrom. Third place will go to the 91 of Jim Locking. Fourth place will go to the 8 of Mikey Neal. And fifth place will go to the 83 of Alex Huffman. Sixth place will go to the 4 of Jeremy Evans. Seventh place will go to the 3 of Damian Leininger. Eighth place will go to the 13 of James Lorello. Ninth place will be the 99 of Justin Starr. And rounding out your top 10 here tonight will be the 21 of Dan Butler. 11th place will be the 45 of Brian Jones. 12th place will be the 28 of Brian Bizzle. 13th will be the 11 of Dennis Ellis. 14th will be the 75 of William Edwards. 15th will be the 48 of Jack Fellers. 16th will be the 7 of Brett Meservy, and rounding out your field here tonight will be the 23 and 17th place of Ryan Hesgard. Your pole sitter was involved in a early race wreck there. Had to put him into pit road, and that will do it for your unofficial race results as they are getting ready for their photo op here. And it looks like he will be pushed to the line, so we'll be right back after a quick commercial break with your post-race show presented by Randy's Wraps. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here with your post-race show, and it looks like we do not have third place, the 91 of Jim Locking here with us. That's unfortunate. Had a heck of a run here, so we'll just assume he's happy about third place, and we'll move on to second place, which is the 88 of Austin Edstrom, finishing in second place. Had some craziness on the track here. So first off, go over how your night was at this track. Obviously pretty good. You finished second, but what was it like coming into tonight's race?
Well, I bought the track like an hour before I started racing it, so I was surprised at how fast I was. Being first in practice by like 5/10, I was kind of shocked. And then in qualifying, I just about looped it around and started in the back. And then the race, I spun my teammate and then hit the tire wall twice. So I guess second's not too bad for that. Just kind of upset because I feel like I threw the win away by hitting the tire wall twice. But the first one, I should have gone head in the wall, and I somehow had the presence of mind to throw it in reverse at the last second and hit the gas as hard as I could, and it spun my car sideways instead of going nosed into the wall. So I was able to continue after that, and then right before my second pit stop, I thought I was just going to try to get everything out of the tires as I could before I got them off, and got too hot going into that last sweeping right and hit the tire wall in that corner too. So that kind of killed me. It didn't really hurt my car too much, it just put me back way too far. So I don't know, I'm upset with myself, but oh well, nothing you can do.
Again, yeah, nothing you do, you still recovered from it to finish second, so it'll be a good points night for you here. Considering you were apparently like us, we bought the track this morning. Buying the track on race day, didn't even know I didn't have it. Didn't even know we were running it until this morning when I went to check, and definitely went out and grabbed it as quick as possible. But awesome race here. Again, little incident with your teammate, but you know, stuff happens. I'm sure Mikey hopefully won't hold it against you too much. We'll see. Y'all usually race clean there, just a little racing deal. But regardless of that, it's an overall good race. We know you got some sponsors and shout outs. So who are those before we talk to our winner?
Obviously, Leo's Coney Island, the title seeder, sponsor of the series. Gold Building Contractors on the Xfinity side, and then iRacing Drivers World. Big thanks to all those guys.
All right. Well, again, congrats on second place. And once again, I swear it just works out this way. It's not planned, but we do have Jeff handing over to Mike to him, and he's going to be talking to Jameer tonight.
Hey, Jameer, welcome back to the Jeff and Jameer show.
Thanks, Jeff.
Congratulations on your victory, man. I'm pretty sure that you and I did not just buy this track before the race, mainly because I already fessed up to having wrecked and run this before, but you certainly did not look like somebody who's only had an hour on this track out there.
Yeah, no, I bought this track, I think, last December or whatnot. I only raced like 2 races on it. I wasn't that fast on it, but over this year, I've kind of gotten a lot better in driving the race car. So I was a little faster than usual, but not as fast as Austin on speed wise.
Well, in the pre-race show, we talked about you a little bit. Said you're not somebody that I think of as a road course racer. I think you made a liar out of me, but I did say that this is your hometown track, and you might have a little bit of inside knowledge on this that nobody else had on that. So. I think you've either been to this track or you're going this weekend or both. Have you been to the races at this track before?
Oh yeah, for sure. We go like about 3 times a year. We go to the Chuck race, we go to the NASCAR race, and we go to another road racing during the year. And yeah, we're gonna be there on Sunday for the Chuck race, so it should be fun.
Well, then I think it's only fitting that you got the victory here. So you qualified second. We saw the leader wreck out on one of those downhill turns. He kind of got spun there, and you took the lead. And
that also scared the shit out of me because he like stuck in the tire. I thought I was gonna hit him.
yeah, it scared something out of you. But oh man, I just totally lost that train of thought there. But you took the lead, and then. You look like for a little bit there, James Lorello and Austin Edstrom look like they might have something for you. And you broke out from your bag of tricks some pit strategy, something that we didn't think was going to be possible entering the race, and that was doing 35 laps with only one pit stop. You know, it didn't look to me like you were saving fuel on that first run. We saw obviously on that second run you were, but
yeah.
So tell us about the strategy in the race tonight.
Yeah, I mean that the one stop was in my strategy on the get-go. I qualified second, and I was really going to see how fast everyone else was and where I was on the track. I mean, I think if who knows what would have happened. I mean, I ended up with the lead without even passing anyone, with Ryan getting in his trouble and Austin qualifying in the back. And I was able to kind of pace myself and conserve fuel right off the get-go and still be in the lead. And so I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. And I just, when I saw Austin have his issue coming out of pit road because he lost a lot of time on the track. And so that's kind of when I was like full save mode and trying to get to the one stop. But honestly, I think the two stop running as hard as you can for those 3 runs might have been faster than what I did there.
Yeah, we were watching Austin. I'm not sure if Austin hadn't looped it coming out of the pits there. He might have had something for you. But
yeah, and I guess I also really screwed up my pit stop. I for some reason I thought I was right in the box, but it kept saying I was too far to the right. So something I got to practice of.
Yeah, we figured about 8 seconds there is probably what that cost you. You had to back up and go out twice. We watched that pit stop. We watched Austin's adventure. So pit stops definitely the deciding factor in this race, whether it was a lack of or trouble in or trouble coming out of. But just a fantastic job by you tonight. A win that I believe it's your 4th win, so it ties you from Mikey for the series lead in this series. And I think you and Mikey got a pretty tight points battle going. So you know, just overall, how big was this for you tonight as far as the points battle?
Big. When I saw the schedule, especially recently, I didn't think Canadian Tire Motorsports would be a track that I would win at, or even like top 3. So this was definitely a big bonus, I think, going into the last handful of races.
All right. Well, congratulations. We're going to let you go celebrate. I'm sure this isn't the last time you and I are going to do this on a post-race show. So I know you got some shout-out sponsors, wife, dad, and some sponsors and probably some friends at the actual racetrack right now that you got to say something to. So it's all yours.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'd just like to thank Leo's Coney's Island, iRacing Drivers World, Global and Contracted Lake Erie Entertainment for sponsoring RACECORE. Shout out to my dad, my wife, and everyone to support me. Thanks for everyone.
All right, thanks, Jameer, and once again, big congratulations, and we'll send it back down to Charles to wrap this thing up.
All right, well, that will just about wrap it up here for tonight's race. We, of course, want to thank all the sponsors as well on the racing side of things. General sponsors for this race do include Global Building Contractors, iRacing Drivers World, and Lake Erie Entertainment, and the presenting sponsor here for this series is Leo's Coney Island out of Rochester Hills. Make sure you check out all of these great partners and give them a shout out. And on the broadcast side of things, we want to thank all of our partners for coming on board here. Of course, as always, we got to start with Paul's Beard Co., Sim Speed Shop, Northwest Racing Series, Ohio IndyCar League, iBog, and this post-race show was brought to you by Randy's Wraps. Make sure you check out all of these great partners. Give them a shout out, give them a like. If you need their services, definitely use them. That being said, it is time to call a night, so we will see you tomorrow night, which is Wednesday night, as we have Upper Edge, followed by the Northwest Racing Series. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you at the next broadcast.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be used in any form without the authorized written consent of Virtual Racing Network. VRN would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.